Hello, how are you doing? The season starts on Sunday. Arsenal v City in the Community Shield. I'm not having any of it. That it's just a friendly, unless we get beat, of course, in which case it most certainly is. But what do you think? Comment below when you think it's friendly or should be taken seriously. Maresca seems to be taking it seriously. I don't know if you watched his press conference earlier this afternoon. He seems pretty relaxed as well. Although I'm not a fan of his jumper. But why is he wearing a jumper anyway? It's boiling out there. I suppose it goes to judgment, doesn't it? So not a good start for him. Although I did say that on Blue Moon, and someone thought I was to be taken seriously. So, but maybe that's a Blue Moon thing rather than a me thing. So yeah, I'm not a fan of his jumper, but we won't read too much into it at this stage. So we'll just talk about what he mentioned in the press conference before we get on to the game itself. He wants to win, which is pretty obvious. He spoke about it's a first game, the trophy's on the line, it's worth winning. All pretty obvious. And what else was he going to say? I can't really be asked tomorrow or Sunday. So I expect him to say say that sort of thing, and hopefully he can do so. He also mentioned that there are things we need to do in the transfer window, which is a pretty obvious. If you look at who might be leaving, and obviously they will need replacing. But I'm pretty happy with the squad as it is at the moment. They tried to push him on Fernandez and Chelsea's deadline that they imposed on us, but he sort of batted that away. Had a bit of a smirk on his face when he said it, and said no transfers will be happening today. And I'm quite glad, really. Not that necessarily I don't want the player, although I'm not too sure on him, but we can't be dancing to Chelsea tune, particularly a transfer at 120 million quid. If you've got 120 million quid, you decide when the deadline is. Like buying a house, the seller always wants things rush. But the people with the dough are the ones who, within reason, decide the deadline and who tend to work to those timetables. He also mentioned that pre-season has been good. I agree with him, broadly anyway. Some good performances generally. I watched the Inter Milan game and the Atletico Madrid game. I didn't bother with the South Korea All-Stars or whoever it was we played. But generally good. No injuries off the back of pre-season, unless McAdoo. That's what he mentioned. Obviously, less Rodri, who's also injured. He said he met Rodri for the first time today. Obviously, in his capacity as manager, he must have met him previously, as he'd been here before. But he was on EasyJet yesterday, coming back from Liverpool. Now, is that a part of his shtick again? Sorry to you Volvo drivers out there. I drive a Volvo. I took my shirt in. I've got a degree. I'm Mr. Sensible. Look at me. I'm on an EasyJet. Is that part of the shtick? Or does he genuinely, is he just a tight ass? Or does he genuinely just think EasyJet's the best way to get from Madrid to Manchester? I don't know. I don't know. Money he's on, I think I'd have just avoided scrutiny and paying the 15 grand for the private jet or whatever it was. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going. Seems that way, but I've spoken enough about him. There's plenty of other videos where I discuss it. He mentioned Savio not being well yesterday, but then said training is this afternoon. This is recorded Friday at 4:00. It was recorded at 2:00, but pressed the wrong button. So this is now take 2. So yeah, we'll see if Savio trains today. And then if he does, he'll be presumably in the frame for a game on Sunday. But it started again, hasn't it? It started again, just as I was at the point of falling into the Savio trap of, he's pre-season. I know he's not scored, but he looked a little bit lively, and the market's not great for wingers. And then you hear one, he's phoned in sick again, like he did last year when Spurs were interested, and two, apparently they're bidding good bid £85 million. Now, £85 million for him is unjustifiable in my view, so I don't believe that for a second. But if it is true, he should be in the car on the way there. Someone needs to phone Tottenham back before they go over the weekend, before someone changes their mind. On what grounds could we turn that down? He scored against Huddersfield and Crystal Palace last season. Let that sink in. That's it. and he's never worked that in a million years. So hopefully he can go and that can be resolved, and we don't have to think about him anymore because it is quite tiring. Victor Hayes, Maresca said he's going to stay for the time being. I'm assuming that means towards the end of the transfer window, see how our defence looks, sort of an injury and form perspective, and then see what sort of games they have planned for him between now and the winter window. But where does he go? I don't want him to go to some dead team at the bottom of the Premier League. They're going to be very nervous about playing an 18, 19 that doesn't belong to him. He'll be the player of last resort. Hardly get a kick, or confidence gets knocked. So I'm not sure about that. Does he go somewhere like, would Brighton take him or something like that? Probably not. They're probably more interested in buying him than loaning him. Does he go to some team in Spain again? Eredivisie again? Maybe we can get a move to, I don't know, Ajax, PSV, someone high up there. Is that good? Arsenal are linked with Kwanzaa at Leverkusen. Maybe send him there. Say that we sent Etcher there, didn't we? And we all saw how that went. So I don't know, but time will tell. Hopefully they'll get a run out on Sunday, and we'll see a bit more of it. Haaland sat out the second part of training on Thursday, but he's fine according to Maresca. So hopefully he'll train today, and we'll get to see him on Sunday, even if it's just for 20 minutes or so, because he needs something in his legs with the league starting a week on Sunday. So yeah, clean bill of health really, less Roderick and McAdoo and Savio's sniffles. But yeah, what I did read during the week, which I thought was a little bit interesting / worrying, is that Kovacic is above Nico Gonzalez in the pecking order of midfielders. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't particularly like Kovacic. He's not fit enough. He dribbles too much. He's generally the player we wanted. I don't think we've got. I think he's let us down a couple of times, particularly Real Madrid at home a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it was. I don't like Nico Gonzalez. I think he's done broadly well since he got here. Yeah, he was a bit soft. At the start of last season, when we didn't have Rodri, he scored against Liverpool. Our form was pretty good. He's a bit slow and all that. We all know that, but surprised on the tissue with him, innit? Fucking Kovacic, he's not Fernandinho, is it? So to see Kovacic starting on that basis. But Nico Gonzalez says he wants to stay. I'd keep him, but if he's not going to get game time, there's a waste of time, innit? But I think he was harshly treated, because as soon as Rodri came back, he was binned off. And to no great benefit, really, either, I don't think. And talking to people who look like binning off, Reinders has got a foot and a half out the door, hasn't he? Maresca spoke about it. He's off to Brendan Rodgers' Saudi team. I'm not going to try and pronounce them, unfortunately. It's beyond my capabilities. But Maresca feels his lack of game time affected decision. Similar to Trafford, similar to Savio. But he didn't seem to have any sympathy for him. Which I like. Sick of these belly aching fuckers. On what grounds can Reinders say he wants to play more for City? On what grounds can Trafford say he wants to play more for City? On what grounds can Savio say he want to play more for City? Look at where they're going. To see if they should have played more for City or not. They haven't got the minerals, these people. They haven't got the quality to start with, but they still haven't got the minerals. But I do like the way Maresca just we tried to convince him. I don't think he tried particularly hard. But although he has played in pre-season, so maybe the shot window worked. But with Reinders, we'll always have Wolves away, won't we? We'll always have Wolves away. We didn't get fuck all else, but we'll always have Wolves away. But I watched him. He disappears all the time. I watched him against Sweden in the World Cup for Holland. Holland won that game 5-1. He didn't do a thing. How do you not do anything in a game that your team is 5-1 if you're an attacking midfield player? I've no idea. Only he could manage it. Only he could manage it. So that's Maresca's press conference rounding up. He finished it off by again laughing about the Enzo Fernandez deadline. So I won't go too much into that. But touched on Arsenal. They've brought in a couple of players, haven't they? They've got Bruno Guimaraes, who presumably will support Rice or play with him at the same time. Will Arteta finally be confident enough to rest Declan Rice for a few games? Now he's got Bruno Guimaraes. who knows? But I think for all the accepted, that's a good signing for them. And Capier, they made permanent, and they bought a winger from Bruges, Greek, who again beyond my capabilities to pronounce, and the Leeds goalkeeper on a free transfer, who was pretty highly rated a few years ago. They didn't develop as much as expected or anyone wanted, but he's at Arsenal now on a free transfer. Interesting that they were linked with Osimhen this morning. They've obviously got cash on the hip and capacity, Arsenal, when you look at the transfer fee they were willing to pay and the wages they were willing to give Vinicius Jr. I mean, they seem serious. I mean, I'm not sure how serious he was, but they seem serious. But Osimhen's on a good whack at Galatasaray. He's been there 2.5, 3 years now. Won the league a couple of times. You know, doing very well over there. Istanbul's a great city. You know, Galatasaray, top club. Would he leave there to go Arsenal? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably leave the Turkish league to go to the Premier League. Yeah, probably. But are they going to stump up what Galatasaray would want? And his wages will be fortunes. And he was available a couple of years ago, wasn't he? When he came, when he left Napoli, went on loan there for I think 6 months, and no one took him. So Chelsea taking him, United, Arsenal, no one took him. So a couple of years later, is that something that Arsenal gonna do? I don't know. I don't think so, because like I said, it's going to be on a big whack. Arsenal never seem to sell anymore to make space for these people. I know Trossard's gone to Besiktas, but that's about it. And so Gyökeres up front, and where he needs to find a home. And where's that going to be? They're going to hope Alvarez goes to Barcelona, then Atletico Madrid come by him. Yeah, it's a bit of a long shot, isn't it? But I don't know where he'd find a home. So I don't think that's a goer. But they're also linked with Quansah from Leverkusen, who used to be at Liverpool and was very impressive in the Euro Championships, in my eyes anyway, in under 21 Euro Championships last summer. Didn't do much this summer for England. And Liverpool got a buyback of 70 million from Leverkusen. It's only been there 1 year. They're obviously not going to pay that, Liverpool. 70 million quid after 1 year. That's far too much. But Arsenal got him with 30 or 40. I think there's probably too big a jump for him at this stage, but who knows? But they've also gone for Quansah as well at Villa, similarly 30, 40 million quid. So they're after defenders. I don't know how many they need. I don't know how many defenders they need. They're stacked with them everywhere. The Italian lads, they've got Mosquera, Ben White's still there. Saliba's injured, I accept that. Gabriel, so there's a lot of big boys there. But if they buy more defenders, that's up to them. So we'll just touch on their pre-season, because it's been a bit of a mixed bag. They got beat at home. Dortmund drew with Como during the week, so they've had a bit of a mixed bag. Martinelli, Saka and Rice haven't played a minute for them, but they have been raving about this Max Dowman guy, probably a little bit more than he's healthy, but sorry, work. So we'll see how he develops. We played them 3 times last year, and they didn't beat us once. They didn't look like beating us once. And short of a Martinelli wonder goal, which he never repeated, that's why he's on his way to Galatasaray, I think. It'd have been 3 from 3 for City, and we battered him in the League Cup final. Battered him. The game of the Emirates, I think we were good for a win, but I wasn't complaining about a point there at the time. And then the league game, lesser late rally, I thought we were pretty comfortable. So I'm not too fussed about the game on Sunday. I think we'll win. I think we'll win pretty comfortably. And I'll come on to our lineup in a minute. But can they go back to back? I don't think so. Leagues are decided on fine margins. And fine margins, whether that's motivation, whether that's something clearing off the line, whether it's a penalty, whether it's a red card, there's lots of different fine margins. But every fine margin seemed to go in their favour last year. Look at Chelsea at home, the Rice handball foul, the headbutt on Erling Haaland from Gabriel didn't get sent off. That could have made a big difference. The West Ham game, disallowed goal in the last minute. There are in Instagram Instagram accounts dedicated to this sort of stuff. But there's plenty. So they can't all go their way again, surely. The motivation factor, it's all right playing like that when you're the underdog. Mourinho had a similar sort of approach. But when you're not the underdog anymore, you're the champion. People will want to play a bit more expressive and they want to actually play the game a bit more, And how long are they going to put up with Arteta's shit, being so detailed? They'll have the confidence now being champions. Are they a bit burnt out? And surely their corner tactic has got to be confined to the dustbin. Surely it has. I mean, when you look at what was going on in the World Cup, this Arsenal thing cannot carry on. It can't carry on. So no, I don't think they're gonna win the league this year. I think it'll be us. I think we're in a good place. I think the squad's good, certainly good enough for the game on Sunday. I think Buadi will come in. I'm not sure why that hasn't been done yet. And I'd like to have been in already. Young kid, get to know the team, get to know what it's like playing for City, travel down to Cardiff, all the rest of it. But that obviously hasn't happened, which is pretty disappointing. But it's a big money deal, but still, we're the only show in town. It's been going on for a while. I think it should have been. Probably should have been done by now. And again, Fernandez, no update, and I don't expect it to be one today. So I'll touch on what I think our starting lineup will be, because I think it picks itself. I think it does. Let's find out, shall we? So I've gone for Donnarumma in there. Yeah, but although I would like to see Geronimo get on for half an hour, just so I can keep saying Geronimo, but that's a bit childish on my part. Matheus Nunes at right back, obviously. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be playing in pre-season. Diaz and Gvardiol at centre half. Again, no word on injuries, so I expect them to start. O'Reilly at left back. And I still think this creates a problem for Aït-Nouri, because let's say we didn't play O'Reilly here. Let's say we need to play Mark Gay at centre back. So Gay goes at centre back. And Gvardiol would come in at left back. So where does Aït-Nouri get the significant game time that he believes that he deserves? I don't think he deserves any, quite frankly, and I'd sell him tomorrow. So I'm not sure what happens with him, unless, of course, let's say we don't get Fernandez, and so he has to go out, and because Kovacic is going to play much of the season, is it? And O'Reilly plays in midfield, but I still think that leave was short. So yeah, I think Aït-Nouri is going to have a problem. I think Anderson will start in midfield. That's pretty straightforward. Kovacic, he's played a lot in pre-season with Reinders, but I can't expect Reinders playing on Sunday. I mean, who's going to risk that money? Absolutely not. So wrapping up on Cotton Wool, leave him on the bench. And maybe Rico Lewis will get a game for the Rico fans out there. But yeah, I think that'll be our start midfield. Foden, why not? I expect him to start, played a lot in pre-season as well. Semenyo has been super. So I'll swap them round. Semenyo has been superb this pre-season. Sorry, he's looked really, really sharp, and I expect him to start. I expect him to cause them a lot of problems. Doku, I've not seen much in pre-season actually. Hopefully he's up for it. Hopefully he's fit, and we can get him played. And then Marmoush up front again, played a lot in pre-season. Potentially shot window for him, because I can't see him being happy with anything like what happened last season in terms of game time. I thought it was a bit weird. We didn't play much before the African Nations. I didn't play much after that either. Really, did we? I think it was Newcastle away, we needed a goal. In a couple of other games where we needed a goal, they didn't even get a look in. So maybe Maresca has a different view. Maybe Maresca's more direct approach will benefit him if he gets on. So we'll have to see how that goes. But that team there, I think, is a very good team. I think it's a very good team. And, stick Haaland in there, stick Enzo Fernandez in there, stick Buadi in as a rotation option, stick Turkey in there, if Foden needs a rest, or we sell Savio and we stick Foden on the right. I think we're all right. I think we're okay. Listen, if Rodri stays, we're obviously in the league, as far as I'm concerned, But I think defence was stacked. We are fine in defence. No ifs, no buts, right? That's fine. Maybe we can argue around the edges about a right back. In fact, I don't think that's around the edges, actually. I think that's quite important, because I know we'll all say, Victor Hayes can drop in there, Kusanov can drop in there. They don't offer what he can offer. in terms of athleticism and sort of threat. Think back to Liverpool away, the penalty. Is Victor Hayes making that run? Is Kusanov making that run? Probably not. They're more defend first type players. So hopefully we can get either an established right back, which doesn't seem likely, or some younger version of an athletic right back who we can then bring in and out when Nunes either needs a rest or gets injured. He doesn't get injured a lot, but I think to run him next season and hope he doesn't get injured again will be a big risk. Although he didn't play the World Cup, so we did have a reasonable rest, I suppose, although we did do a lot of travelling. And you got Haaland up front. We're good. I think we're good. I think we're good to go. I think we're ready. I'm ready anyway. I'm ready for Sunday afternoon. We'll leave it there, and I'll be back on Monday. I'll have someone on Monday. I know I said I'd have someone with me today, but it didn't quite work out with the death. So we'll have someone on Monday and talk about the match and a few other bits and pieces in City world. Maybe these transfers have moved on a little bit over the weekend. Thanks for joining. If you've made it this far, please like, please subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care.